Time to go over a few of the behind-the-scenes mission files for my hostage rescue mission. Since I'm making a new mission here, I thought I would go over some of the files that I use in the mission folder. So first of all, if you don't know, documents, Arma free, MP missions or missions, and then is your mission folder. And in the mission folder is where you put everything to do with scripting for your mission. For example, we start out with making description.ext, and we can open this in a notepad file. Unload name, hostage rescue, unload mission. These are all titles for the mission, and the description, brief description. The loading screen will be a custom image that I made, and as you can see, I put mine in a folder called pics. Load free because I made 3 of them before deciding on one, and the size it has to be is 1024 by 512, and you can use any editor that you want. And here's my load screen for this particular mission, for the hostage rescue mission. Similarly is in my new mission. Again, the same file size, any image that you want, you can edit it if you want. And the same thing here, and you can see in this mission I don't even have it in a pics folder. You can just have it here if you want it to be here. So that's very simply how to do a loading screen. Back to description.ext, we have after this an offer primeval. Don't forget your semicolons. Here we have all the respawn and revive script that I was using. I'm pretty sure it still works. I don't think they've updated the game since. Basically, this just means respawn equals free. That means you can respawn. The delay is 6 seconds. The revive delay for when you want to revive someone is 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure the revive script still works. Revive force respawn delay is 6 seconds, again just like a respawn delay, so when you get someone up. And the bleed out time, so if you don't get revived for 100 seconds, then you die and you have to respawn. And then respawn templates, revive, menu position, so it shows you which position. And respawn start -1. So you can copy that if you want. I think it should still be working. I'm gonna test my mission soon, so sorry if it's a little bit outdated right now. And over here, class config sounds. As you can see, I used a lot of sounds in this hostage rescue mission. And in my new mission, I have the same kind of thing over here. Let's see. Over here, again, it's the same thing. Description.ext, mission name, description, the loading image, offer, all of this stuff is the same, and the class config sounds. So if you want to put music or sounds in your mission, first what you're gonna do is to take the file. It's probably an MP3 or WAV file, and then you go into a program like Audacity or like WavePad, and you want to export it as an OGG. So just for an example, save file as and OGG, and as you can see, I've been calling them sound 1, sound 2, and in my actual mission folder, sound 1, 2, 3, 4 through till 7. Of course, you can call them how you want, as long as you reference them very carefully, as long as you reference them correctly in the class config sounds, and this puts your sounds into the mission to be used how you want. So next, let's go back to the respawning stuff. Now back to respawning, you need to also have these 2 files, onplayerkilled.sqf and onplayerrespawn.sqf. This is onplayerkilled. It reads player, mission namespace, inventory _var, call BISFNC, save inventory semicolon. What these 2 files do together is they make sure that you respawn with the equipment, the same equipment that the player died with. And here is onplayerrespawn.sqf, and it says the same thing. Otherwise, if you don't have those, you don't need them, but if you don't have them, they will respawn with a default loadout. So for example, If the guy picked up a weapon he really likes, then he dies, he would start with whatever weapon his character normally starts with, if you don't have these files. So next we also have init.sqf. I should also say, to save these files, you go to save as from a notepad, type the init.sqf, make sure your save as type is not txt. You save all files, and as you can see, otherwise it'll save it as a text document, and that will be useless. So back to the hostage rescue mission, init.sqf, set view distance 15,000, set object view distance 15,000 to 100 semicolon. What that does is make sure that the host has a view distance that's preset, and everything will be rendered nicely for every other player. For every player in your server, if you're playing multiplayer. This is very important, but also you have to realize who will be hosting the mission. Are their computers good enough to have a high view distance? Because usually you can do a higher one like this, but you must also consider what's actually being rendered in the mission. If you have a large mission with lots and lots of things to be rendered, then you want to make sure the view distance for the host is lower, or you could leave this out entirely if you wanted, but I choose to have it preset. Okay, so next I have some very important script. This is the randomization script for the hostage. Again, the hostage was called Lolomer 2011, and that's his variable name in the mission, so of course that's what I use here to set his position. So if is server means that it will only happen once for the whole server. So why this little bit of text is important is because if you don't have it, every single player in the server will have the script running for them. Meaning that if there's, say, 4 players, they will spawn 4 Lolomer 2011s in the mission. And that's usually something that you don't want. You already have enough Lolomers with just 1. So then to make this work, we have h equals floor random in brackets 4. So there is 4 different positions that he can spawn in, and of course h is just the letter that we're using here. So if h equals 0, then Lolomer set position, get position, h1. h1 is a variable name for a marker in my mission, an invisible little marker that goes on the floor. And that means, so when it randomizes, it chooses one of these positions, h2, h3, or h4, for Lolomer to spawn in, making it different every time. One important thing though is when you actually do the in bracket script, if h equals 0, then it has to start with 0, not 1. Otherwise it will not work. So as a result of that, you have 0, 1, 2, 3. And the actual positions in the mission are h1, h2, h3, h4. Of course, these are variable names, so that means that you can name them how you want, and if I wanted to, I could, or if I wanted to make it more simple for myself, I could have also named it h0 for h equals 0 as opposed to being h1. And just as a quick comparison, here's another one of my missions which does a similar thing with Intel, and it's basically the same thing, only with less positions. Of course, my variable names in here are called table 1 and table 2 and table 3 because I wanted it to spawn on a table, and yeah, but it's basically the same thing. And then finally I have my little custom executable here, execute party.sqf, which tells the server, hey, we want the file party.sqf to be executed. And this is how I worked 3D sound into my mission. Of course, this is very unique to my own mission, but I'll show you anyway. So party.sqf is a series of executable files that goes into other executable SQFs. And why do I have all of this? This is so that all of those sounds that I put in the mission are playing in the mission. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So do 180 equals 0. What could that possibly mean? Well, 180 is 180 seconds. So I've timed some files, clips of songs to be played in the mission. That's about 3 minutes long. So at the end of 3 minutes, it will replay. And if do 180 equals 0, then execute party1.sqf. And then party1.sqf is the meat and potatoes of how I got this thing to work. So if do 80 equals 0, which it is because it says it here in party.sqf, you have to thank one of my friends for helping me name these things party.sqf. Of course, you can name the files whatever you like. So do 180 equals 1. If alive music UAS, then music UAS say 3D sound sound 2. What does that mean? It means if this music UAS, the vehicle with a variable name that I called music UAS, is alive, then he will be playing a track, the track sound 2. And say 3D of course means that it is a 3D sound, meaning that it's louder the nearer that you get to it and quieter the further away, like he's really playing something out of his radio. And you can use this for anything in the game, not just cars. You can use it for people, you can use it for anything, any object that you can add a variable name onto. And why I have this if alive music UAS is so that when the vehicle is destroyed, it will stop playing the sound. Otherwise, you can destroy the car and it will keep playing the sound, which I actually do use something like that in my newer mission. So this is a party SQF from my newer mission, which says if alive DJ, then music Jeep say 3D sound 3. So we know what that means. DJ is just an object in the game which can't die, so it's like you know, an obstacle or something that's not actually able to take damage. And the reason behind this is because in this particular mission, I want them to keep playing the track even when they are destroyed. And it'll help us find these vehicles after they are destroyed. And for example, when this plane goes down, we will still be able to find it because find the wreckage because it will be playing a track. So it's up to you if you want to use any of that stuff. I just think it's a lot of fun, and I'm really impressed with Arma's capability to have a 3D sound system, and also sleep 180. So after 180 seconds, it will rest, and then do 180 equals 0, so it starts again. And that's what keeps this all looping. So the only other things that I haven't covered are briefing and debriefing. I guess we'll take a look. So let's take a look at briefing. And this is just something that I found off of Wikipedia. It allows you to put different titles and things in. I haven't actually had much success with these working, but I found that if you put in the title here, it will show on the end screen. So when the mission ends, this is what it shows. You can also, of course, add images in here. So add image debriefing.jpg, which I have over here, sized correctly, sized to what I saw actually happening in the mission, so it's about the correct size that I need it to be to show up in the final ending screen. And the size for that, just if you want to know, 367 by 256. But it's not completely accurate. It's kind of just what I thought was about right, and it turns out to be about right. So guys, that's all. That was a lot to take in of information, but hopefully you learned something or found something that you can copy and use in your own mission. So go back and pause the video when you need to read something or understand something again, and I'll see you next time.